Hey guys, and welcome back to this March bullet journal setup. The theme I originally had in mind for this month was spring flowers, but I think I actually did kind of like a spring forest and wildflower theme, but I think it turned out really good. So let's get started first with the watercolor painting. So I decided to do a full-size painting. So the size of this is 13 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and because of that it took really long to do it. I had to speed it up so much faster than I usually do, because otherwise this video would be like 20 minutes long or even longer than that. But I hope you can still see what I'm doing, and I'm trying to talk you through a little bit. So at first I did the sky. I did it with two different kinds of blue, and I mixed in some pink. And after that I focused on the mountains. So I had some pictures laying in front of me just so that I could see where I should paint the shadows and where I should paint the lighter parts. And then I started to paint the meadow, and I used some different kinds of greens. I think about 3 to 4 different types. So a really light one, a darker one, and some mixes in between. And here and there I tried to incorporate some yellow ochre, just so that it wouldn't seem like just one big green something. So now I'm starting to paint the flowers in the background, and for that I used some white paint and I mixed in some yellow, then I mixed white paint with some orange and another one with pink, and then I just did little dots for the flowers, because they are so far away that you wouldn't see them as flowers exactly. Then on the lower part of the painting I added some texture to the meadows, so I did very little strokes so that wouldn't just be green. And then right up front, or right on the lower part, I painted more detailed flowers, because for the viewer these are the closest ones, so you would actually see them as flowers. And I also painted these in the 4 different colors I used before, so light yellow, light orange, light pink and white. And this is the finished painting. So as always I scanned it in and sent it to my iPad so I can do the lettering on top. And I used the HB pencil that comes with the app for just doing the basic sketching at first, as you see me do here. And then I went over it again with more defined lines. And when I like how everything looks, then I export it to a PDF file and I send it to my printer to print it out. Now that it's printed out, I can paste it into my bullet journal, and then it's time for the monthly layout. So I'm starting my monthly layout by first doing my grid calendar. I'm doing the exact same one I did for the last 3 months, I think, and it's worked out really good. Now for decorating the calendar, I choose to do this simple green banner on top of each row, where I'm writing in the dates with a black fine liner. And now for filling up the blank spaces next to the calendar, I draw a big tree. And I did the whole tree in fine liner first. So I drew the branches and some little leaves. Then I focused on the tree bark. And after that I went over with watercolors. So I did use a fine liner that was waterproof, so it didn't smudge. So in the end you will see the fine liner through the watercolor, and that gives it more definition. Now for the watercolors, I did tape off the calendar just so that I didn't have to concentrate so much on getting a sharp line and not painting in the calendar. And then I started with a really light green. This green is sap green. I let that dry and then I went in with a little bit darker green, and then in the end I used a really dark green to define some leaves and just give it some dimension. Now for the tree trunk, I used two different kinds of browns. So I used burnt umber and sepia. And then I also painted some of the branches as if they were shining through the leaves. And now moving on to the other side, I painted some grass and I also painted some of my wildflowers in there as well. And now the only thing left for these two pages is the lettering on top. So I'm writing March and then the monthly calendar is done. Now for these next two pages, I first added some images of wildflowers I found on Pinterest. And I also added some washi tape down there, but I removed it again because I didn't like it. So these two pages are a little bit different than the last month. So I decided I really needed a bigger place for a general to-do list that I could use during the whole month. So that's what I did on the left side. And then for the right side, I did a travel planner because me and my boyfriend, we are planning a trip to the USA in September. But of course we have all the bookings and stuff to do now. So that's what I'm using this page for. And as you see, I did make not a mistake, but I wrote planner down in a black fine liner and I really didn't like it. So I just used some brown paper to cover up my mistake. And then I went in with my white paint and wrote planner on top of the brown paper. And now for the weekly spread. So this spread is inspired by a picture I've seen on Pinterest. So I divided each side into 3 equal parts using my ruler, and then I wrote down the dates. And you see me here making another mistake because February only has 28 days, but that's okay. And then I went in with my green marker and I wrote Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on the side of each part. And now for finishing these pages, I added some brown paper for each day, and then I also added some dots in the same colors as the flowers on the corner of each brown paper. And now the final flip through for this month. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want to see more. Bye!